Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very special edition of Primetime Gaming. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And listen, the reason why we're doing it early today is because most people that were at LA are now under the weather. I happen to be one of the few that are standing straight up, as well as my special guest, Luke Lore, who I got a chance to hang out with for the first time, and it was awesome. We're going to do about a 60 or 70-minute program. I didn't want to just cancel the show altogether because there really is so much news to talk about. So I figured, you know what? I'm home. I'm retired. It's midday. And you know something? We can do a primetime gaming and still deliver some great conversation to you fine folks out there. So, of course, if you're new, you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. We're on the hunt for 15K, and we might just get there a lot sooner than I originally thought. And of course, hit the like button while you're kind of just hanging out. And let me introduce my one guest so far, Luke Lore. What's up, dude? You have not only did we have an absolutely astounding time IRL for the entire weekend, but you have something big happening this afternoon. I can't wait to talk about it. Welcome, sir.
Oh man, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to see you, shake your hand, give you a hug, to be amongst everyone. What an incredible vibe and experience. We were in the media room together, looking out at the Hollywood sign. It was just incredible. What a good time we had. And yeah, man, I'm, 3 days after the Gears of War E-Day announcement, today at 3:00 on my channel, talking to Cliff Blazinski about it. So that's kind of cool. So
That
it'll be
is
kind of fun.
freaking. That's not cool. That's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that because, obviously Gears of War was a highlight of the show for many of us, and he's the creator of Gears of War. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, who better to talk to than one of the co-creators, one of the catalysts, if you will, for Gears of War. Cliff being a phenomenal developer, very a bodacious kind of a personality that he has. I cannot wait to hear what he has to say regarding Gears of War going back to its roots. Apparently, a lot of the coalition wanted to return to the old way of doing things, and it certainly does look like that in fact is the case. And hey, look, another gentleman that we hung out with is here, who's normally on prime time. He's here. Hey, Harky Chani, how you feeling, brother?
All right. I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I might feel a little sick. I'm not sure. I don't feel as bad as everybody else. So I'm still good.
Okay, well, listen, you're alive, right? So that's all that matters. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Obviously, the three of us got a chance to spend a significant amount of time with each other, had a chance to get into the showcase. We all went to IGN Live. We all went to, of course, Summer Games Fest. Well, we're back. We're here to talk about it. Unfortunately, a lot of people are under the weather. So, of course, my heart, hugs and kisses goes out to everyone that was there, that I met for the first time, that is under the weather. Thankfully, Mrs. Boom, who is always the smartest person in any room she steps into, started prepping me with vitamin C, echinacea, and zinc a week before the event. And while I was there, I was taking Airborne, which does work 3 times a day, and I actually feel pretty good. I'm not sick, thank goodness. I don't want to, obviously jinx myself, but so far so good. In the background of today's podcast is, of course, the Xbox showcase. So you're going to get a chance to rewatch it with us as we get into some of the topics. The show is expected to run around maybe 60 or 70 minutes, give or take. It's not expected to be a long show because I had to change everything from tonight. Again, we're doing primetime gaming today at 12. There will be no show at 7 p.m. because everyone is pretty much down for the count. And I didn't want to, like I said in the opening, I didn't want to cancel the show altogether. But look, guys, I want to open up with some news. Now, Clobriel, obviously, I'm a big fan of his work. He is a phenomenal content creator that he does a lot of work on Twitter. He does a lot of graphics for Twitter. He actually did a post that is making some rounds, and it's pretty interesting because according to Clobriel, the gameplay reveal of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is now the most watched Call of Duty trailer ever in the game's history. So, where is this trailer? What are the numbers? Well, the numbers are like this. I'm looking at it, and this is live, literally from the Call of Duty YouTube channel, who has 7.74 million subscribers. Check this out, gentlemen. Now, you think Microsoft owning Call of Duty, not that big of a deal. Call of Duty coming into Xbox Game Pass for some, not that big of a deal, because they're going to lose money. Well, according to the stat numbers, and of course I'm a evidence-based conversation kind of a guy, let's talk numbers. Luke Lore, currently, this particular trailer, which is 2 minutes and 10 seconds from start to finish, was viewed and has been viewed 49,564,773 times since inception. It says that it's trending. It's number 45, and this is since June 9th.
Jeez.
We are now June 12th. So in 3 days' time, it has nearly 50 million views. We were talking about the importance of Call of Duty as an IP. But when we were in the green room, you and I were talking specifically about the importance of this being in Game Pass. We think it's going to move mountains. I think this trailer and how many times it's been viewed goes to show you how important this game is. And in fact, it actually may move people to Xbox. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I don't see how it doesn't come out as a net benefit for Xbox, because either people are diving in via Game Pass, which I sincerely believe after this showcase we see console sales go up a bit across your Amazons, your UK sales charts, that kind of thing. But also your Game Pass numbers climb because games are expensive. $70 is a lot of money. There's a lot of game in Call of Duty, a lot of love for the Black Ops franchise, and Xbox fans. I mean, Fable, Gears, Call of Duty, that's what built the Xbox 360, and it's been roughly 20 years since that kind of era, and people are going to be excited for it. But I don't see how this isn't a net win for Xbox, as they get to show it in their showcase. Xbox gets to be on their box in their in the Call of Duty commercials and vice versa. But then if you're not choosing to check the game out via Game Pass, you're going to be able to play it by purchasing it, which benefits Xbox, benefits Call of Duty. And so this is a really great win. I'll also argue that however you're getting into it, you get a lot of game with Call of Duty, but they've also mastered their monetization model. And so you get a lot of game, but also once you're into the ecosystem of Call of Duty, there's a lot of methods of monetization that people subscribe to and make use of. And between Game Pass perks, getting it on Game Pass, people are more inclined to check out battle passes and the like. I see this as a net win all around. To see 50 million people checking out this trailer, just boom, 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 boom. It's the fastest trailer in Call of Duty history. Surely that means it's the fastest trailer in Xbox history. You could sense, and Boom, I don't know if you felt it in the room as well. And then like in talking to some of the people we did in the media room, you could sense the pride that the Xbox execs had that Call of Duty was there. We were standing in front of marketing. I had
You're onto something, Luke.
Yeah, I had a chance to bump into Sarah Bond and chat with her. That was a fun experience. I had a chance to see, a couple other people in the Xbox higher ups. There was a sense of pride about this show, about Call of Duty being there. COD was everywhere there was Xbox, there was COD next to it on all the stuff we stood in front of in the pictures. And that was cool. Like you could just, the vibe, the feeling was different. And this was a corner turn for Xbox that I think will bring it back to Xbox glory days, and certainly evens the playing field.
Can I jump in for a second? Because
Please.
You mentioned something while we were there, and I'm starting to see people make the to equate it to what you said. If you remember, Luke, you had said that you were getting Xbox 360 feels.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you look at everything that transpired at this show, I think not only were you onto something, but you jumped the trend before anyone even said anything. because you have Gears,
Mhm.
you got Call of Duty,
Mhm.
you have all of these. You have Fable,
Mhm.
you got Perfect Dark,
Mhm.
you got all of these older IPs making a comeback in a big new way,
Mhm.
and they're all Xbox.
Yep.
Xbox owns every one of them, and I think you're onto something. I'd like you to elaborate on that, bro.
Sure, no, happy to. Obviously the IP that you mentioned from Perfect Dark, Call of Duty, Fable, Gears of War, they all mattered a lot to the success of the Xbox 360 and the people that played it, right? Like we were all very excited to play it at the time. Gears was the first game I ever played on Xbox, the first game that put me into Xbox Live. And it's been, you know, it's between 15 and 20 years since that era, which is just enough time for us old hats to grow up, have kids, get excited about things again, and talk about these franchises in a way that I think celebrates them and brings us to nostalgic feels that PlayStation and Nintendo have been able to capitalize on because they had longer legacies. Well, Xbox is now entering into that legacy phase where it's not just Halo that it's not just the original Xbox that has that nostalgic vibe. The original Xbox had a very small install base. The 360 had a very large one. So if we're entering the nostalgic phase for Xbox 360, I think you're going to see that pay dividends. Long brand approaches here for somebody that is interested in gaming and they're an old hat, they're feeling nostalgic vibes, and they see Xbox. Oh, I had an Xbox 360, and then they see, wait, in Game Pass, I can play Gears of War, I can play Call of Duty, I can play Fable, I can play what's that Forza game? I can play Perfect Dark. That
Yep.
takes me back, and then, not to put too fine a point on it, but like Dragon Age is there. Right? Dragon Age is in that showcase as well. That's nostalgic vibes. That name carries panache as well, regardless of whether you liked the tone or not. And I think I really like the tone personally. But I think there's a lot of nostalgic vibes, and that nostalgia does lead to dollars spent in a lot of places. And I think it will lead to dollars spent here. So yeah, I really feel like Xbox is in a good place. You could, again, I will double down on this one. You could sense the pride amongst the Xbox execs for this show. You could see it in their body language, in their vibes, the way they spoke to fans, the way they spoke to media, the way they handled interviews, and private conversations with them and public ones. It was just, there was a vibe that was very special. And so I really have a positive outlook coming out of this showcase, even several days removed. And it's hard not to smile, to grin, to be excited about the brand in a way that I don't think we've had the privilege of being excited about. We've had like moments, but this was a whole showcase that just nailed it, and a whole event that just nailed it. Yeah, it feels good to be an Xbox fan right now.
I absolutely agree. I think there are some really finite points there that you're making, Luke. No doubt about that. And I think that nostalgia doesn't get enough credit for how powerful it actually is. And if you look at the response just solely, listen, I know Call of Duty is this behemoth, and that's what we're talking about. But if you ultimately look at some of the responses, some of the recorded videos, which I love watching for Gears, people actually lost it. People were crying.
You were right in front of me. Your arms went straight up in the air. And we were all like, yes.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I recorded that. I have the reaction videos. I put them up on my site. I recorded every reaction
dude. See,
from the crowd while we were at FanFest.
The thing is this. I think, because I know that it got a little criticism. How come there wasn't more reaction? I think they really shook the pillars. Like, I didn't know what I was seeing, because when I saw him, I thought it was his kid. I didn't think that was Marcus, because he's young. And then the minute they showed up in his face, I'm like, oh my God, is that Marcus? And then when he was about to fall and Dom caught him and brought him up, they did it in such a way where you couldn't tell who brought him up. It was just dark enough where you couldn't tell until they got up close. And that's when you heard me go, when they said ED, oh my God. And I actually recorded myself doing that. I got goosebumps from head to toe right now. It was
one word was said in that trailer. The amount of emotion that came out of it, though, it was
just
awesome.
stunning. Shout out to J-Rock.
Well done.
Yeah, it was. It was, and unfortunately, somebody in the media had to be ratioed for a very disingenuous comment, which we're going to get into on Friday's Breakfast with Boom. By the way, tomorrow I'm sitting down with SAS Shadows, who's one of the biggest Gears.
Oh, I love Shadows. I love Shadows.
He's amazing, and if you saw his stream, he was crying. Like, that was real emotion that came out of that dude. I'm sitting down with him and Crispy Bomb and See Money tomorrow. The entire show tomorrow, which is normally about 70 minutes, is going to be dedicated to Gears, where we think they're going. This is going to be a launch title in 2026 for the new Xbox. Rest assured on that. And we're going to get his reaction and some things, some behind the scenes stuff that he has info on. So we're going to get to that in a second. But let's
that disingenuous person that you're talking about doesn't use dark mode on his computer during events. Very rude. Very rude.
Yes,
I just want to point that out. I was like, dude, come on. I like you.
Oh my goodness, very rude indeed, for sure. Yeah. But we will cover that more on Friday. We have a great panel, a great show for Friday. Tomorrow is going to be all dedicated to Gears, but today, while we're here, Hargeet, I want to bring you in, because for weeks leading up until this showcase, you have stood on your square specifically for Call of Duty. You wanted, and more importantly, you needed Microsoft to drive the point home of Call of Duty on Game Pass. Call of Duty is owned by Xbox, and now we have in front of us numbers. Now, the numbers don't lie. This is a Treyarch developed game. This is a Black Ops title. Two very important key factors is what I just said. But when you look at the numbers, nearly 50 million views in 3 days. People are excited. This is Call of Duty. It seems to be back in a big way. But the only difference this time around is that Activision is now owned by Microsoft, and Activision games are now considered first-party Xbox games. This is a turning of the tide. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, the numbers are the numbers, right? I actually asked about, like, the thing I wanted was in the direct, would they be able to say Game Pass, and why wasn't that there? And there are some reasons for that, that apparently maybe contractual, that they really can't do that. But at the trailer, at least, they did talk about it, right? So that is fantastic. 50 million. That's just ridiculous. But that's what you expect. This is Call of Duty. It's such a large IP. So that's what you need. You need to have that visibility, right? So it's awesome that that's there. I hope it instigates people to think, what the heck is this Game Pass logo? But even outside of that, you just have the fact that it's Xbox, right? It's Xbox. It's back home. Call of Duty is back home. This is the way it was with the 360 gen, right? The 360 gen was the dude, bro, shooter box. Why? It had Call of Duty. It had Halo. It had Gears, right? You wanted to play those games. You're coming here. This is the place to be, right? We had the online. We had the game chat. It was great. That's, like you were talking, Luke, bringing back the nostalgia of the 360 gen.
Exactly.
This is it, right? It's just they're bringing all the only game not here was Halo, which is coming. We know there's going to be a Halo thing coming, right? So they've got all the things ready to go, and this is going to be every year. Call of Duty is going to come every year, and it's going to be marketed by Xbox. It's going to be the massive, headliner of the November timeframe or the October timeframe. Right? So the fall is always going to be that. But this fall is ridiculous. There's so many games that we can talk about later, but there's so many games coming out. I mean, going to be coming out this fall that it's crazy. But this is big. It is what it is, right? Like, people will see it. There's so many who have not upgraded yet. When it comes next year, when you have to upgrade because of GTA, what are they going to go with, right? And you're going to just see that constant logo. It's Xbox. It's Xbox. It's Xbox. And it just goes in your head. It's Xbox. It's Xbox. And eventually you just start to go down that path. Showcase Gears again, right? This is the teaser. And boy, was it crazy. Next year, you're probably going to get the gameplay. So you're going to get Gears gameplay. You're going to get Call of Duty. What if they tease the next Halo?
Yeah, and they just might. They've been working on it for a while. So I mean,
You know,
and to your point, what's next year? 2025. When is the next console? 2026. What could be launching in 2026? A Halo, a Gears, and a potential Forza. Holy
Yep.
shit, dude! Like, just crazy.
And Call of Duty, always Call of Duty. It's there. It's
Yeah.
there because they have it, and it's going to always be on their stage because they own it. So this is exactly what they need because they have the freaking power now of Call of Duty's marketing. They can continue to push that. 50 million. It's going to keep growing, obviously. Lots of buzz behind it. That's awesome. The showcase knocked out. Right, it was just great. It was just unbelievable. Home run, unbelievable showcase. Possibly the best showcase. Period. Right?
Ever.
It's
yeah, in the history
you go back to the other
gaming.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go back to the other ones and tell me where you find something with 17 first-party titles.
It's never happened.
It just doesn't exist.
It doesn't
right?
exist. Yeah.
On top of that, you're talking like Assassin's Creed, Shadows being put into it. You've got like Expedition 33, which looked really good. Wu Chang, like on and on and on. They had plenty of stuff. They had all these games, right? That like they brought in third party plus first party. First party dominated, but they still had third party stuff. It was a fantastic trip. But yeah, this is the big headliner. This is why they started with it and they ended with it. Call of Duty is the big headliner of the $70 billion acquisition, right?
2 points. 2 points about that Call of Duty. If anyone plays COD, if you booted up your COD in the last week, you saw at the bottom Black Ops 6 Xbox Showcase. Like, it talked about it in the COD screen, regardless of what system you were in. So that was cool for one thing. So they've got a marketing behemoth to talk about their brand across multiple platforms: PC, PlayStation, Xbox, cloud, Boosteroid cloud, whatever it is, it's there, right? And that's pretty darn crazy. The other thing that I thought was neat, to kind of piggyback on the Gears of War conversation, was just how good that trailer looked. And I remember last year when Fable showed gameplay, and I asterisk that because we were all like, really? That's gameplay? After playing Hellblade, I'm a believer. That's gameplay. Seeing that Gears trailer, I believe it'll look that good. Hellblade taught me that if the time is given and the interest in graphical fidelity is there, then you can see gameplay that matches that level of cinematic. Because with Hellblade, I saw that. And Fable, it looks like it's going that direction. Whereas something like, say, South by Midnight, which had incredible gameplay. I think the viewers are seeing that right now. I thought the gameplay for that looked really great. They're not going for that like 1-to-1 CGI cinematic. That's not their goal.
But it looks beautiful anyway.
It sure does, man. But if
you just look at it, like I said, the best way I can compare it is if you've ever seen the film Coraline. That's what it seems like to me, and that is freaking amazing. You're playing this movie is what you're ultimately doing.
Yeah. So I'm just really impressed by Unreal Engine 5 and what we finally see these systems can do. And the idea that we're going to do another technical leap within 2 years, because I think the Series S and X have been underutilized in terms of their power. And I think the pandemic had a bit to do with that, right? But this generation, we haven't seen the best they have to offer very often. I think Hogwarts, Hellblade, Jedi Survivor, maybe one or two others, but like we haven't pushed these systems hard.
But most of those games across gen, right? So that's the thing.
Yeah. So I'm a believer now, in so many ways, that what we saw in the Gears trailer, incredible. I have friends that went hands-on with Treyarch's Call of Duty, and they could not stop raving about it. And as a COD player myself, I love Call of Duty. I am very excited for Black Ops 6 to make a return, and that just marketing behemoth that exists within COD across even mobile now, it's wild. It's wild.
It's funny you should say that because
Sante keeps saying that we are in a post Hellblade 2 world.
Yes.
And in that world,
yes.
You can't determine that this is just cinematic versus gameplay because they've shattered it. Like the cinematic became the gameplay, right? So Sante keeps pointing that out, that we are in a post Hellblade 2 world, just like you said, right? We that might be what we actually see when we play the game, right? Because that is what we're in now, right? So shout out to Keasante.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. I think we're moving into a realm where they're getting so good over at Xbox with Unreal Engine 5. I mean, we did hear the term benchmarked, right? Like we did hear that they benchmarked UE5, and that was done by the Hellblade team. Could you imagine what the masters of the of Unreal Engine 5 are going to be able to do with it? Giving them 2 more years worth of development before Gear 6 potentially releases in 2026, which, by the way, will be the 20th anniversary of the IP. Pretty fitting, to be honest with you. Hey, let's welcome in Ham Solo from TSWS Gaming. Ham, how the heck are you, brother? How you feeling?
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you A-O fine. You happened to jump in right at the nick of time. We were talking about Call of Duty, the importance of it for many, many reasons. Obviously, it's important because it's an IP that's legacy. It has a fan base that is far-reaching. It is now going to be launching into Game Pass day and date, which seemed impossible. But what's interesting about this particular conversation is the record-breaking numbers. Ham Solo. Currently, Black Ops 6 is the most viewed Call of Duty title ever, with nearly 50 million views alone on the Call of Duty channel, which has 7.74 million subscribers. I want to get your hot take on the importance of this, not only for that many people viewing it, but in the importance of this being an Xbox first-party game now because they own Activision, and what it will do for Game Pass.
No doubt. I mean, it's definitely gonna make some sort of shift. Is it gonna be immediate? I don't know, but I really do think that this is put right in front of people's eyes for them to see that, man, you could get this in a service as well now. Like before, it felt very separated, as in like how the heck, like even people thought there was no way that this would even be possible or a deal. Or I'm sure you heard plenty of fanboys, in the last 3 or 4 or 5 months saying, "Oh, they won't do that. They'd lose a ton of money. They do this. They do that." In my opinion, I feel like this is a good way for Xbox to be like, "Hey, we told you what we were gonna do. We're actually doing it." And not only that, but we understand gaming is an expensive hobby. If this is something that you want to do and you want to be able to have as much freedom, play whatever you want and whatnot, this is an available option. But at the same time, as Phil said, even in his little sit down talk with Ryan McCaffrey, he was just like, "Hey, you still have the ability to do what you want at the end of the day." And I think that's probably the most important part, because although this is great for Xbox and everything like that, this kind of doubles down on Phil's vision of like, when everybody plays, we all win kind of thing. The thing he's been saying for years now. I mean, my selfish side is a little perturbed, but at the same time, I'm like, what do I win keeping anything away from somebody else? I'm sure not getting paid.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's just like, it really doesn't matter. Seeing somebody like my brother that lives in another state, he has a PlayStation 5. I'm sure he wouldn't mind getting a Series X or Series S or Series X at some point, but I don't. I mean, it does. I don't win anything if he feels forced to get an Xbox or whatever. So if he's able to hop into a game, be able to play with me, or if he goes on, and sees, hey, this is in a service where I don't have to continue to pay $70 each time, maybe eventually he'll find that, hey, I need to switch on over to Xbox and start saving myself some money. So it's just really up to how time plays out. And I'm
Since you brought it up, Cam, what did he think of it? Did he watch the show?
Oh, I absolutely watched the show, man. I
No,
watched
not
it
you.
like
I mean, your
2 or
brother.
3 times.
Your brother, the one that has a PlayStation.
Oh, did he watch the show? Oh, I didn't ask him. I didn't ask him. I
Wait to
talk
get
to my
their
brother like
perspective, right?
once a month, maybe twice a month. So it's just, I don't know. I mean, he has like 4 kids. I have my own kid. We're on different schedules completely. But I know he's a mild gamer. He's a very casual gamer, right? So like, even if he did see the showcase, I think he'd think things are hot, but he's the type of person that'd be like, I ain't got that kind of money for that dog. Like he's real quick to be like that. So I mean, that is definitely something I'm gonna have to mention to him next time I go into town, because since he's Mr. I ain't got the money like that dog, maybe Game Pass might be something that he might want to look into in the near future. So I mean,
hard to argue $17 versus $76.43 for a one game.
Man, that's hard to say it's worse.
On top of that, Ham, in my video, I actually equated it. It's literally the same cost to just buy the game plus the online access versus paying for Game Pass, and because of discounts, right? So you can get discount codes, and you then get everything, literally everything, right? So like, then you can choose to play whichever COD you want to, because eventually they're all going to be in Game Pass. You can play Halo if you like, whatever you like, right? It's all there, right? So you just get to play whatever you want.
All right, let me go on ahead and bring this to an ending, like this part. Thank you, Boom, for inviting me here. Let me go on ahead and just kind of close my thoughts on this specific thing. I honestly think that this is only the beginning, and 41, or not 41, but nearly 50 million people viewing. That's a good chunk. That's a lot. Sure, it ain't GTA 6, but who is, right? Who's doing that number? Who else? Nobody.
Right.
So I think this is a phenomenal start for Xbox when it comes to them merging them in, having them in the showcase and whatnot. The only thing that Xbox needs to do is just be consistent.
Yep.
If they continue to be consistent, having shows like this, it's going to be hard to deny.
Yeah.
Like how can there's so many people that are attempting to poke the bear. I'm sure you've seen that tweet from Tony out there.
Yeah.
Out of his goddamn mind. It's a 3 out of 10. This is the stuff that I'm talking about. This is how Xbox maximizes on its possible growth, is for people like that to come out and flat out lie, and even other fans of PlayStation being like, somebody get this crazy somebody get this crazy dude up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Even other PlayStation fanboys were like, dude, shut up. You are lying. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the kind of energy Xbox needs to just continue to expel. Because once you make it to the point where you cannot be denied, there's nothing else to say.
No, you're absolutely right. And you know something? What I want to do is I want to forward this conversation to the second topic of the show, because Paris Lily, who I got a chance to hang out with in real life, along with
congratulations on going out there, man. You had a blast.
Oh, dude, thank you. Yeah, it was just the best gaming experience I've ever had. Honestly, to be around all of these amazing content creators, to be recognized by Microsoft as media, the list is just as long as my arm. It was incredible. I take nothing for granted. It's a lot of hard work to get here, and the fact that it was recognized is it's amazing. But Harris had a chance to pop on yesterday's Xbox Factor podcast, and while he was there, he made mention specifically about Gamescom, and that's where I want to go and talk to next, because there were some games from this showcase. There were 30 of them, 17 first party. There were some that were absent. Clockwork Revolution being one of them. That game looked done last year when we saw it. 33 Immortals we know is in beta. That's another possible release at any moment. What's the side-scrolling beat 'em up one?
Towerborn.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Towerborn was absent. Contraband was also absent. So
Everwild. There's so many more, right? And I talking to them, they did say like, yeah, they had to cut stuff. They just didn't have enough time.
According to people at Xbox, no names specifically, they had to remove some things because they literally had too many games to show, and they had to represent their partners and some of the indies that were in there. So Paris said yesterday that look to Gamescom to be something big. And Gamescom is a big show. It is a monster size show. It's probably one of the biggest attended shows every year. And there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people attending this thing. And Xbox apparently is going to be there in a big way. Luke, I want to go right to you with this.
Sure.
The show was the show. 30 games, 17 first party. One of the, if not the biggest game show in the history. It's certainly, at least in my personal opinion, the best Xbox show in the history of the brand. That's just me. But depending on who you speak to, get out there on the socials, people are calling this one of the best or not top 3 shows of all time. Gamescom is around the corner. They have another opportunity to show their wares. I would imagine that we're going to get a chance to see some more of the games that they showed here, plus some things that were left out, like the ones I just talked to. For you, how big do you think Gamescom is going to be for Xbox?
I think Gamescom is going to not quite match the size that we just saw here, because what they did was kind of give us benchmark updates on some of their biggest properties. Xbox has had a unique problem in the last year and a half, 2 years, in that we know a lot of their projects. We know a lot of their projects. And with this showcase that we just had, we got answers. Where is Perfect Dark? What's going on with Doom? What's going on with the Gears franchise? We got to see answers to a lot of those questions. State of Decay, yep, good call. State of Decay getting a wonderful showing there. Gamescom is where you saw what we didn't see at this showcase, and that's release dates, right?
Yeah.
They'll show us release dates for Avowed. Maybe we kind of already know that thanks to Obsidian's. Oops. But like, you get your official announcement. You get your official announcement for indie. We see a lot of these announcements, and then maybe you get 1 or 2 updates on things that we haven't seen just yet. Maybe you do see a Contraband. Maybe you do see what's going on with Clockwork Revolution. But they don't want to over show everything in this 2-window time. You want to have a nice trickle cadence that Matt Booty and Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer have talked about. One big pillar quarter, and you want to get people excited for the next thing as well. And so I think that's going to be Gamescom, is where you get maybe one thing new, you get some deeper dives on some stuff, but really you get your release date timing. They are, I think, purposely diminishing Avowed, because they want scope and expectation to be appropriate, similar to how they did Hellblade, which I still think they underserved. But they've kind of pushed Avowed's audience into the official Xbox podcast, letting people see that third person is there. Why that wasn't at the showcase surprised me. Seeing it in the official Xbox podcast surprised me as well. So like, I think they're trying to temper expectations on some of their projects, the Outer Worlds Avowed sized experiences, the Hellblade 2 sized experiences, and then your bigger stuff will be on display at your Gamescom. And then they also have to have something for Game Awards. So that's why I think they need to now adjust their cadence. And they've got the IP, the studio size to do that. because they have the umbrella of Bethesda, Activision, and Xbox Game Studios. I think it's interesting, Boom, not 2 weeks ago, not 2 months ago, I should say, within the last 2 months, we were really concerned, is Ninja Theory closing after Tango Gameworks, after this? And now the vibe is completely switched.
Mhm.
Time will tell if they can keep this level of excitement. I don't think you can, because it was just this good and it was such a course correction. But if you can do 80% of what you did in this showcase as a sustained effort, then you've got a new Xbox brand recognition from here on out, and that's the exciting part.
I think you're onto something. I think consistency is going to be a key factor. I mean, look, even people who are not normally associated with the Xbox brand, for one reason or another, really had a hard time denouncing what we saw. Like, they hit so hard, Luke, that it was undeniable.
Yeah.
There's I'm sorry, there's just no doubt about it. Now, before I bring Hargeet in, who's laughing, of course, he's always laughing and smiling, which is what we love him for. I do want to catch up on super chats. Now, Simon, I know that I missed your super chat yesterday. He drops a very generous £2 super chat to say, shame on me, Boom. And it's actually shame on me. I have your super chat. I can't believe I missed it, but here it is. Simon Brandy dropped a £5 super chat yesterday, and I missed it. And I can't believe I did. He says the media are hating it that Xbox showed up big. F them. I've read articles harping on about layoffs instead of reviewing the show. Good old Metro. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, dude. I put it to this way. The fact that we're seeing people continue to downplay this, and again, we don't name names here, right? I don't like doing it because I'm not looking to have a flame war with anyone. You're entitled to your opinion. What I have said, and what I will stand on this square, Simon, is that if you walk away with this, from this show, maybe not every game is for you. Maybe all 30 games are for you. But I will say this. If you as a gamer, I don't care where you game, PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, PC, wherever, if you can't find 10 games from that 30, from that list of 30, that's 1/3. You can't find a third of games that you would be interested to play. You are a fraud, and you should not be playing games. Just pack up your systems, sell them on eBay, and go build sticks or something. I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, go play with Lego.
Just to point out, I've said that long term, the media will not be able to deny Xbox.
Yes, they
started on Sunday. You started to see even PlayStation-centric sites saying, hell yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And where's the Sony response? They don't have anything right now, right? They're starting to see the obvious cracks that we've been pointing out, right? And eventually they all will. It'll take years, but they all will have to, because this will keep happening, right? You say Gamescom. Who do you think is going to win Gamescom?
That would be Xbox, because Nintendo doesn't go and PlayStation is not going to be there. So yes, it's another win.
And who's going to win the Game Awards? It's going to be Xbox. And you'll see this pattern continuously. The enthusiasm generated by one company will be Microsoft. Xbox will be doing this their next showcase is going to be just as crazy because they have that many games. They have games. So what are they going to do? They're eventually going to have to just pay respects. If they buy another big thing, forget it. How can they say no? Right? How can they say no? That this is going to continue that trend. But you're seeing it now. You're seeing it now. People on the other side of the aisle have started to say, yeah, that was just too good. I can't front. That was awesome. So, and that's starting to flip.
Well, listen, I'm going to come back to you in a second because I do want to get your thoughts on Gamescom, but I want to continue with the super chats. And Simon drops an additional £2 super chat and says, what do you think of Sean Layden being a toxic pony? I saw the commentary from Sean. I like Sean a lot. I thought it was incredibly out of character. Like him liking someone's toxic tweet. I'd have to go and find it. I put it to this way. I was disappointed. I was disappointed in what he said and how he responded to it. He's supposed to be above board. He really is. He doesn't need to
And right now
middle.
he shouldn't be doing that. He's at 10 cent, right? Is
He's
that
at
right?
10 cent. Yeah, that's where he's
And
making
so
quite a bit of money
Xbox is
over
one of their
there.
major customers.
It
Correct?
is. Yeah,
That
they
is not a
absolutely
good
are.
play. You don't want to
No,
go against your major customers. That's a
no,
bad idea.
it was. I hope he pulls down the tweet because it that kind of rhetoric should be beneath him, and look, it's a bit shallow in my opinion for someone of his stature and his position in gaming currently to make those kind of comments. I just think it's low in my opinion. Smokey, who's been a channel member for 39 months, brother, thank you so much for the ridiculous generosity. He said the ad I was forced to watch before this show was for Indiana Jones. Have you discussed its predicted launch date? Not as of yet. I'll catch up with on the super chat. Okay, so 2 more super chats. Elemental PO drops a very generous $10 super chat, and he goes on to say, I had the privilege to attend the event called E for All in 2007. It was the first public gaming expo at the same venue at E3. Oh, dude, that's freaking awesome. The closest I'd ever been to E3, I played Metal Gear Solid 4. That's awesome. Hargeet, let's get your hot take on what you expect at Gamescom.
Okay, yeah. So look, like Luke was saying, we're gonna have some updates on release dates. Hopefully, right? Maybe they push that out even further. We'll see, but maybe there'll be a release date or two in there. But look, Contraband, I think, is ready to show. So, and I think they're from there, right? From Europe. So it might be something to go at Gamescom. We were looking at other games to potentially be shown from the Xbox side. But maybe they don't. I don't know about like Gears collection we keep talking about. I'm not sure it exists or not.
Well, I want to throw a caveat into that because I went back and listen, I heard what I heard and I stand by it. But what's interesting is the same team that brought one of the most disliked Gears is People Can Fly, right? They were just hired. Now, I don't know how it was just announced a couple of months ago. They are currently working on a legacy IP, right? What that IP is a secret. Is that legacy IP the Gears collection? Because if I were to be so bold, you put out this game, obviously E-Day is going to be it's a prequel. If you're going to lead into a Gears collection, that could potentially come either before or after. Because remember, you're going to want your fan base to be equated with what Gears is. Gears hasn't had a title since 2019, and it was Gears 5. I loved it. A lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that happens sooner, before, or even after.
If it does, it'll be on PlayStation.
Yeah, it probably will be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe we'll see. But so the other things that we didn't get were like the Call of Duty drop into Game Pass, right? We had
it's a great point, dude. Great.
That could happen
great
there.
Point.
We really could get just an update of, hey, Activision games that are now going to go into Game Pass. That could be dropped in there.
Yep.
There were other potential rumors that were floating around about a Fallout 3 remake, an Oblivion remake. If any of that's going to happen, those could be announcements that are there, right? Just bringing in some sort of older games into the current gens, right? So we can see if those could happen. I don't know if they would do something like Everwild. I think that might be a good next showcase thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be next year. But there are other potential games like that they could, like Towerborn, right? Replaced.
Yes.
There's those games that they partner with that we haven't really heard much about in this current this showcase. They were also talking about other games they have with Japanese publishers and developers, right? So maybe they have something going on there. The IO folks, they're working on, was it Project Dragon? I don't know if that's still
right. Yeah.
Marketed or exclusive or whatever with Xbox. That could show up. They were also working on a Bond game, right? And that didn't show up on Keeley's stage. Are they going to market that with Xbox, right? They seem to have a partnership there. So maybe we see that, right? We see that marketing of the next Bond game, right? So there's things like that, right? And why I think that game, IO is over there, but also Bond is a very European centric thing, right? It's
Yeah, it
UK,
is. Yep.
so it potentially fits in that arena, right? So I'm just thinking of things like that might be out there, but regardless, there's going to probably be enough stuff to say that, yeah, that was probably the biggest announcements thing that we had at Gamescom, just because of the sheer amount of stuff they have, right? So even just release dates, new trailers for games that we know are coming, and then, you know, having a couple of new announcements, maybe some of these remakes, partner games, you know, things like that. They could easily be bringing that to Gamescom. So that'd be my guess. I haven't delved too much into what I think might be there, but I think that's probably realistic. It's not going to be as big as this, obviously, but then again, Gamescom generally isn't that, you know, isn't as big as the E3 timeframe stuff, right? And so yeah, I think that's what they're gonna do. And they had like 4 games, I think, in the Game Awards. So they're probably gonna have something like that, some big killer announcements. We'll see at this Game Awards as well. You know, this time, Summer Games Fest, I don't know if that's gonna keep going the way it is, but it does not seem to get the big announcements anymore. But we'll see. But as far as you know, Gamescom, I think that it's gonna be something like that, right? There'll be a mix of smaller things. It's not gonna be huge, but there's gonna be some good announcements.
Let me tell you, I saw Keely's body language both at Summer Game Fest and after
We saw it.
He's
saw it.
working real hard to bring something big to Gamescom and to Game Awards, because he's well aware Summer Game Fest disappointed,
because he has his other thing at Gamescom as well, right? What do you call it? I can't remember the name.
Gamescom.
But Gamescom, so it's just Gamescom Live. Is that
it's Opening Night Live? Yeah.
Oh, no, that's right. Oh, no, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, no.
So he's gonna work on something, so maybe it is that Bond game, but like it was very evident.
Yep.
When the lights came down and he was walking off stage for a trailer to go, and then I ran into him probably 3-4 times at Play Days, which was like the media event, and like my boy was defeated and he was not happy, and it was I'm not like railing on him, but like his show disappointed, and it doesn't usually, right? Like not on this level. So like this was a new territory for him to put up his own poll, get a D in his own rating, and then Xbox get an A. That's new territory for Jeff Keighley. So expect him to try to bring something big to the stage. And don't we want that? Like we want that. Like let's go. Like let them go. Like if he's pushing back, the Xbox is going to push back harder, and they've got the arsenal to do it. This is only good for us.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I do think that they're going to be pushing each other, but I think Xbox is going to be the big man in the room, because they literally have they literally have so many games. It is just, it's ridiculous. Ham, I want to bring you in for this part of the conversation. Gamescom is happening. It is a big event. Let's not make a mistake here. It is one of the biggest shows of the year. Now, is it going to be as big as what Xbox just put out? I don't think so. But based on Paris Lily and what I heard behind the scenes, I think Xbox fans can look towards Gamescom for big Xbox announcements that were shelved in place of what we got for this past weekend. And again, the running conversation is they literally had so many games that they could not put them all on one stage. They put 17 first-party games in one show. That has never happened before. That is probably the most first-party games on any show ever. Well, Gamescom is upon us. We mentioned a bunch of games that were not here that looked like they could have easily been on the showcase. In Exile's game definitely being one of those. Let's talk about it. Are you expecting Xbox to show up big in Germany?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like Xbox, like, even though we've gave them plenty of smoke in the last 10 years, it feels like, when it comes to like their messaging and just really, getting out there and advertising properly, I still don't think Xbox is quite there advertising properly absolutely yet. but I think that they kind of found some comfort within showcases in particularly. I still think they could get on the street and be better, right? They could be better in big cities, and I personally think that it's insane that they're not at like every airport trying to market it, personally. But but they found their shtick with showcases for sure, and I think they know how many eyes look at these like Gamescoms, and they're starting to really take serious the Game Awards and even Tokyo Game Show even more. That I think they do have a lot of other stuff that they could show at this next presentation. I mean, as you guys said, they showed a ton of first party games, and people like Paris were out there like, yo, they still got a lot of other stuff to show, including myself, where I'm just like, yo, where's what is it, 100 Immortals or 33 Immortals or
33 Immortals? Yeah, that's one of them.
33 Immortals. There's another. There's Towerborn as well. There's just, I mean, I could keep going. I could look it up, but whatever. There's a lot of other things going on for Xbox. I'm personally still waiting for Brass Lion to say, hey, here's Wu-Tang. So like,
yeah,
there's a ton of stuff that I'm looking forward to, but I think in particular that Xbox notices that people are starting to wonder what the heck they got going on over there. And instead of, Xbox trying to be ultra friendly and be like, hey, yeah, can I, get on that game with you like PlayStation's doing or like Nintendo's doing or whatever. They just said, screw it, man, I'm buying the bar. I'm already invited. I know. I'm invited because I'm the owner of this. And now you can't just, call them to see if you could show this. You had to call me. I thought it was mad funny because people were like, yo, why is Jeff feeling this way? And I was like, yo, y'all don't remember just like a year ago or maybe two, he was the one showing off Call of Duty, not Xbox.
Yep.
So I feel like maybe Keely's looking over at the Xbox show saying, y'all took a bunch of my opportunities away. Dang it. He's got to be a little salty about that, just a little bit, because that took a little bit of, shine away from him. So I know that there's been some people arguing in the Twitter streets about how he conducts himself in person and stuff like that. Take a second to put yourself into his shoes. You just had the worst show that you could remember having. Everyone's amped up for not your show. And everybody's around having a great time, and you, just like I just said, had one of the worst shows of your what is it called, of your life, being able to host something of that nature.
Yeah.
So people trying to talk to you, maybe trying to shake hands. Yo, like, imagine losing like something like, I don't know, imagine losing like the conference finals or something, and everybody's trying to have a good time around you. It's just like, man, like, I'm here, but I don't want to
be here. Yeah, no, I mean, you're not wrong, and that's the body language, exactly what Luke was saying. Because I was in the audience, I saw him, I walked past him. Someone that is positive and excited, they're upwards, right? Their shoulders are crossed. They're broad.
Slouch.
He was very slouchy, if that's even a word. You could tell his body language was screaming defeat. Listen, that's just it is what it is. We saw some of the pricing that goes in behind some of these things, and his prices are pretty expensive. And why should Xbox pay when they're going to have their own show? Why should Ubisoft pay when they're going to have their own show? Mm-hmm. PlayStation pays because, they pay everybody. That's just what PlayStation does, which is why they're in a bit of a pickle financially. Maybe they got to stop paying. I don't know. But
I feel like it was kind of like an avalanche of just terrible. Ever since he kind of did his own little like live stream kind of thing and then denounced his show, pretty much saying that it's not going to be the greatest. Like he didn't say that word for word, but he was just
no,
like,
but he
this is
said temper expectations. That's what he did say. Yeah.
like imagine some of the folks that paid that extraordinary price to be on that show just to have Keely a few days prior say, temper your expectations. It's not that exciting.
Yeah. No, it's
like I imagine people within the industry were pissed at him. He was mad that he didn't have the best showcase himself.
Mhm.
You know, there was just like I said, an avalanche of just bad happening. And then on top of that, right after he sees that Gears of War thing, he sends out that bogus tweet that gets community noted. Bro is having a horrible week, maybe even month so far.
We'll see if he could rebound, because obviously on opening night live is obviously something that happens right before Gamescom. Gamescom looks like it's going to be another Xbox show, ladies and gentlemen. It really does look like that's going to be a big deal, and I'm here for it. Obviously, I'm personally not going to Gamescom. I know that Kay Asante is going to be heading out to Germany, and he'll be attending that along with John and quite a few people. I believe Gaz is going. Asa should be going as well. You'll have some pretty decent coverage. Dutch is going to be there. Boxenberg is going to be there as well. So you'll have plenty of great amount of content creators covering that live. And I'm looking forward to it. Again, based on some of the chatter behind the scenes, Xbox is going to be there in a big way. I'm here for it. I cannot imagine what else they could possibly show on top of the 1 year where they had their own event that just completely blew the doors off of anyone's expectations. Shout out to Scott Gamer Dude, who drops a very generous $5 super chat, and Scott goes on to say, "Hello, Boom. My goosebump moment was when you shared that you were invited as media." Dude, that is very kind of you. Thank you, Scott. He says, "Soon you'll be out on stage interviewing Phil instead of Ryan with your banjo tee." Dude, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. That is a very, very high mark list for me. But if it does, I'll come back to this and say, I remember when Scott said that. I would love to interview Phil. Maybe it will happen one day. And maybe I will rewear my banjo shirt so he can tell me and I can cry on stage like a baby that there's a new banjo. Look, this has been a great hour and 3 minutes. This was not supposed to happen today. Things occurred. People are unwell, so that's why there's no primetime gaming tonight. But I do want to just thank everyone that was here. We have over 1,000 live viewers right now, almost 800 on YouTube, 243 on Twitter. A big thank you for everyone that tuned in for this impromptu primetime gaming. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button on the way out. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, help us get to 15K. We are a stone throw away, and we can get there with your help. But let's get to the outros now. I want to go first to Luke, because Luke, not only are we happy to have you here today, so thank you so much, but you got something pretty big happening on the heels of the Gears of War E-Day announcement. You, my friend, will be sitting down live with Cliffy B. That's right, that Cliffy B, who helped bring Gears of War into our world. Let's talk about it. Where could they check that out live? And more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel and follow you, kind sir, on social media.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words, and it was a pleasure meeting you in person.
Yes,
we've been friends for a while. Same with Harjeet. Like, that was just the coolest thing to be there with you guys. But yeah, you guys at 3 o'clock today, so less than 2 hours, 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. My channel, Xbox Expansion Pass. You guys can go over there. Cliffy and I are gonna have a probably 20-30 minute conversation about his thoughts on the Gears of War trailer. I've had him on XCP before. He's a great dude. But we're just going to talk Gears, answer some questions from the chat. I'm sure, depending on how many people come, I'm a little worried about that. I don't know how many people will be there live. But I do hope those of you that are watching right now will check out the Xbox Expansion Pass. Come support, follow that one. Ask Clippy B some questions. It should be a good time. That'll be pretty darn cool. I'm excited to see what he thinks about E-Day.
Well, I mean, he's an OG and they're bringing it back to the old way. The horror element seems there. The tone, the darkness, the grittiness seems to be there. I'm sure he's going to be incredibly happy about that. I don't know what his thoughts and theories were for 4 and potentially 5 being a little open world. We do have confirmation that it is not going to be an open world. It is going to be a very tight, narrow, kind of a old school feel, which a lot of people are excited for. So that's going to be interesting to get his hot take. So thanks so much for joining us today, Luke. And I'll be tuning in to check that out as well.
Thanks,
Hargeet Chani, brother, sell your brand, because obviously you have a YouTube channel, which you put a ton of content up this past weekend with a bunch of reactions from the live event that we were both at. And more importantly, you also have a book to sell. Tell everyone about Emergence, where they can go and buy that book. And more importantly, where people can't find you on social media.
Yeah. So if you want to buy my book, I have a sci-fi novel out called Emergence. It's at, you can go to shop.chani.us, and it has links to Barnes and Noble and Amazon, and you can go pick up the book there. If you want to buy a signed copy, there's options there as well. And there's merch as well. If you want to go check that out, you can pick up some merch. Also, you can sign up to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Hargeet Chani 1 on YouTube, so you can see some of the videos. I kind of took a reaction of almost every game. I think I missed Call of Duty. I missed a couple of others, but for pretty much every one of them, I got the reaction from the crowd as to what the reaction was for each one of the games. I did like the whole thing for Gears. I just like when we had the just one. Here's one extra thing, right? Just one more thing. I just did the whole thing, and like you get the reaction of each step as we're seeing like this red thing in the background. Like, what is this going on? Oh, and then we see like the little logo, and people's like, oh my god! Like, and then you see Marcus, oh my god! And then you see Dom, oh my god! Like, so you get to see the whole thing. So check that out. I also there was a little bit of a talk before from Matt Booty, Sarah, and Phil. Before the showcase started. I have that whole thing there as well if you want to check it out. But yeah, so I will be on no, we're not doing primetime gaming today. So tomorrow I'll be on The Fix with Umbra. You can check that out. And of course, right after this, Luke has the Cliffy B thing. Please check that out. I'll try to drop in Luke.
Thanks.
Please go over to his channel, Xbox Expansion Pass, and check that out. And then Friday I'll be on with See Bunny and Doodle with Night Shift, which is at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's on point for gamers. Check that out. And then we'll be back on with Fonz Gaming. We'll be doing Games Talk Live on Sunday. Obviously talking about this. And for those who know Fonz, he can be a little hard to please as far as the gaming world. He was like ear to ear smiles. He was
he sure was
ecstatic.
So cool.
He loved this showcase.
He
had 2 key moments where he yelled out stuff. One of them is PlayStation sucks. It's actually in my Doom video if you want to check that out. And then he said, too many games. I did not capture that one, but it was captured by media, so you can check that out. But yeah, it was so amusing. But yeah, he was so happy, just being out there with us, but this showcase just like crushed it. It was so good. He was so happy with this showcase. But yeah, we will be going over the showcase on Sunday at 6 p.m. US Eastern on Fonz Gaming channel. So check that out. I'm not on social media, but I'm on Discord. If you want to catch me there, it's HChani. And I'll see you guys around.
Thank you so much. And Ham Solo from TSWS Gaming, brother, let's sell your brand. Where can people help your YouTube channel continue to grow? Where they can find you on social media? And give us a breakdown of what you got going on for the rest of the week. Because I'm interested to get Loke7's thoughts and theories on the show. Talk about it, brother. Where can people check out that content?
Yeah, so before I, shout out myself, I just want to say, hey, it was phenomenal meeting you today here, Luke. I never met you before, and in fact, I put your channel 3 times in the chat.
Thank you, sir.
So
Thank you, man.
People can go on ahead and click that. There, it should be the latest thing posted just now, and I actually posted it just a little bit ago because I seen that you put it in our private chat here.
Thank you, my friend.
So yeah, I put it up there, so you guys click that link to see Luke's thing going on a little bit later. But as for myself, it's a little bit of selfish plug time now. I am. I do my show over on TSWS Gaming here on YouTube. I have a pretty dope show going on later this evening as well. About an hour after Luke has his thing going on, I'm going to be interviewing the head of PR for X Real, the AR glasses. He used to be the head of PR for Xbox.
Ralph?
For quite some time, for a little bit. So yeah, Ralph Jodice. Yep, absolutely.
Nice.
You nailed
Good
it.
get.
So yeah, I'm gonna be talking to him here in at 4:00 Eastern. So if you guys want to come through and check that out, that would be great. We also do a bunch of other content throughout the week as well, talking about just the happenings in gaming. I love to talk about Xbox a lot because that's my favorite platform and everything like that. Loke, he enjoys all the platforms. He hangs around on PlayStation a lot. So you'll definitely get a well-rounded assessment of games and whatnot. I'm just very loud, so you might think it's more Xbox than anything else. But anyways, if you guys want to check me out over there, here's my channel link. That will take you to TSWS Gaming. Please subscribe there. We're trying to grow as much as possible. I really appreciate Boom for allowing me to have this opportunity to be on his show, talk how I feel about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just make sure you guys come over there, check that interview out later this evening. And then the next time we'll have a show will be on Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern as well, just talking about everything that happened in the last week within gaming. And then you can also find me on Twitter at HamSolo05 Gaming. I always post when I'm going live there, as well as goofy tweets and stuff like that. Just pretty much having a good time. That's the best way I can put it.
As you should, as you absolutely should. So again, a big thank you to everyone that tuned in. Over 1,000 live viewers. We super appreciate it. That will continue to grow. Obviously, I've done a lot of content in the last couple of days. Everything is up there for you to check out. Some of them are shorts. Some of them are some videos that are only about 2 minutes. Some of them are about maybe 3, so you can get a quick watch at it. I'm very proud to say that the one video that I had no idea was going to explode wound up exploding, and that was the reveal, the live action, the live commentary reveal of Gears E-Day. It's closing in on 19,000 views. I can't remember the last time I did a video that hit that. The last time I did that was E3 2019, and that's because I covered the Fortnite bus and their setup over there, which was pretty impressive. That wound up getting like 14K. So this is really a big deal for the small channel. So if you missed it, check it out, because it does you do hear me yelling like a maniac, which is it's fun. It's fun to listen to, and that's 2 minutes and 21 seconds. But again, a big thank you. I say we got a super chat. Oh, we have a new member, Joseph G. But hey, Joseph, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. That is very kind of you. We super appreciate the generosity and the support here at Double Barrel Gaming. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to all the super chats that came in. Obviously, they do help the channel behind the scenes more than you could possibly imagine. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.